Franz Beckenbauer is dead. When he strolled alone across the lawn of the Olympic Stadium in Rome after the World Cup triumph in 1990, Germany was perhaps more united than ever before and never since. It was one of those moments that you never forget how you spent it. Sunday, July 8, 1990. World Cup final in Rome. Germany against Argentina. In the 85th minute, Andy Brehme converted a very flattering penalty against penalty boogeyman Sergio Goycochea to make it 1-0. Then, my memories blur. They start almost 2 hours beforehand, during the national anthems in the living room of my parents' house in Mulheim, south of Freiburg. Sing along. Rather bashful. Are you excited? From the heart. I have rudimentary fragments of memories of just over 80 minutes of fear, hope, trembling and rumbling football between Germany and Argentina. Then this penalty. Sensini against Voller. Irony of history. When has an Argentine ever fouled less than at this moment? Voller sinks. Matthias pinches. Brehme aims very precisely. Bottom left. 1-0. Gerd Rubenbauer and Karl-Heinz Rummenigge shout there. Yes, out. At the eternity of sports reporting. And there was no stopping us. When are you coming home? Dad asked. As if we could have said that. Out of the apartments. Out of the front doors. The party rooms. Past the market square. The wine cooperative. The community center. Everyone streamed onto Werderstrasse into the small old town, where the middle between two old bars seemed to us all to be the best meeting place. This was the direction in which our aimless rejoicing moved. This was where our enthusiasm, our shy love for a nation that was reborn in these months was concentrated. Germany. None of us knew what it was supposed to be, what it was going to be, but Bodo Illgner, Guido Buchwald, Lothar Matthäus, Andy Brehme, Jürgen Klinsmann, Rudi Voller and a few others had just written a summer fairy tale long before Sönke Wertmann could think of one. Somewhere between the ice cream parlor, the Taberna beer bar, the Alt Munds village pub and the community center, we all bumped into each other. All the village cliques, all the clubs, all the groups that such a small town is home to. Footballers hugged handball players. Volleyball players hugged the local carnival group. The volunteer fire department was on the street, as were all the residents. And none of us knew what to do with our joy over a World Cup title that we would never have dared to dream of. There was no internet, no cell phones, no social media. No one channeled our joy. No algorithm filtered it in through the windows of my favorite pub, the Taberna. I vaguely remember seeing on the tube television next to the bar a curly head of hair that seemed to float lonely over the lawn of the Stadio Olimpico, while around him was my whole world went crazy with joy, the Emperor. This moment was more majestic than anything I have seen before or since in my life. I was 17 that night, and at some point I was very drunk. I don't remember much about that night, but what no amount of euphoria and no amount of alcohol could erase is this moment, of which I was only able to catch a few seconds. Franz Beckenbauer, alone on the lawn of the Olympic Stadium in Rome, the one sought a moment of silence at a moment that meant maximum excitement and enthusiasm for his country. Maybe the situation was just too much for him. Maybe he fled into this brief solitude, but for us who saw him there, it was a moment of gigantic silence and quiet grandeur that we would never forget. His triumph was greater than the old Federal Republic. He broke all of our borders. Although only West German footballers played in his legendary 1990 World Cup team, German unity was imminent. We were someone again, but we had no idea who that was supposed to be. We all stood between bashful Federal Republican joy and unprecedented euphoria.